So far, So far in our last sessions, we discussed about how to create info objects, how to how to load data into in master data info objects like attribute master data and text master data, how to perform data loads to attribute master data, text master data, and then we see in one scenario how to bring data from ECC into BW also. Okay, in today's topic is we are going to learn about aDSOs. Okay, aDSO means advanced data store object. Okay, so before jumping into this topic, we need to learn a little bit history of this aDSO. Okay, so in older, so in 7.5 on HANA, so BW 7.5 on HANA. So on these databases, so on HANA databases, SAP introduced an object called aDSO. Okay. Before this aDSO comes into picture, like earlier versions or normal traditional databases also, we have other object called DSO. We have an object called DSO. DSO means data store object. Okay. So in older versions of SAP, we call this particular object as DSO. And in the newer versions, BW 7.5 on HANA and or B4 HANA, in B4 HANA also, we have this aDSO concept. Okay, so in older versions, along with DSO, we have cube. So two type of objects are there in older versions. One is DSO, another one is cube. So what exactly these two? Okay, these two are data providers. Okay, where we can store the data physically. So let me explain a little bit more about this one. If we take any traditional database, if you want to store data, so where exactly we will store the data? We will store data on tables, right? We will create database tables and we will store our information on the database tables. Even in our ECC R3 system also, when any transaction happens, at the end where exactly data resides, again in the backend database tables only. Okay. Now why we have SAP BW system? SAP BW or BW4 HANA, anything. These systems are mainly created for the purpose of reporting. Okay, for the purpose of reporting. Reporting can be done on the so when we want reporting means report needs data. So the data we are storing on the providers, and in BW instead of tables we call them as a providers. In ECC we have tables, but in a BW system instead of tables we will create providers. In these providers again in the backend are again tables only, but to our eyes when we create some object here we always create as a DSO only. Okay, we will see all those details in further sessions, but in BW environment, if you want to store data physically, then we mainly use the providers. So providers means in a BW older system, these providers are nothing but DSO and cube. In latest BW 7.5 on HANA and B4 HANA system, we use aDSO. Okay, aDSO is a replacement to this DSO and cube. Earlier, SAP is given two different objects to store data, but in latest versions, SAP combined the properties of these two objects and developed one hybrid model called aDSO. Okay, in one aDSO, you can get all these functionalities. Okay, I hope it is clear. Okay, so simply like just a general example. Earlier we have phone and camera separately, right? Now everything is available under one device. In the same way, this functionality is different, DSO functionality, and the cube functionality is different. But now SAP combined these two functionalities and created one hybrid object called aDSO. Okay. Now we will learn about each object in detail, and then we will learn about aDSO also. Okay, so DSO is a two-dimensional object. DSO is a two-dimensional object. So two-dimensional object means x and y axis. In general, when we talk about in mathematical terminology, two-dimensional. But two-dimensional is nothing but a tabular format. When I say DSO is a two-dimensional object, it means DSO can be represented in a tabular format. Okay. So for example, I have some transactional data which contains document number, okay, material, or a document number, date, material, quantity, unit. Okay. So this is the structure of my data. Okay. So now in this, for example, consider this as one bill, and this is my, if I want to create some examples of my transactional data, I can give in this way: 2022 0101 M1 material, quantity 100 pieces. Okay, I can create entries like this. So now this kind of tabular representation, we call it as a two-dimensional data representation. Okay, and when comes to cube, cube is a multi-dimensional object. Okay, what it means is, I will give you some high level understanding of cube now, but later we can discuss if possible in detail way also. Okay. Multi-dimensional means, before coming to this multi-dimensional, let's talk about this particular two-dimensional in more detail. Then multi-dimensional will be more easy. So when it comes to this two-dimensional model here, so each field in my tabular format corresponds to one info object in BW. So for zero doc number, SAP given one standard info object called zero doc number. Okay. For date, SAP given one standard info object called zero cal day. For material, SAP given one info object called zero material. For quantity, one info object. For unit, one info object. So in order to store any data in BW in a two-dimensional format, we need to create one DSO. And so first of all, we will define the structure of the DSO, and then we need to identify corresponding info object for each column in our structure. And now using all these info objects, we are going to create a DSO. Okay. Now, so here zero material, we know in earlier classes we learned about master data, correct? So what is master data? A master data contains properties. So zero material is one of the master data in BW. And what is its properties? The properties of material are, in general, material group, material type. Let's take these two. Okay. So material group, material type. Okay, these are the properties of the material. So for example, when I said M1 is one material, then corresponding to this material, I have a corresponding material group and material type. Okay. So how to get this example? If in real world, if we want to take one real world example, let's take any one material which contains a group and a type. Okay. Which one I need to take? Material group and material type. Take any toy. Okay, for example, take one okay, car toy. Okay, then it comes under material group. For example, material group toys, and material type, either it may be this particular car toy may be of with plastic, and I may have car underscore electronic toy. Okay, it is may not be proper example, but I am giving. So I may have one more extra material. This is also comes under toys only, but when comes to the material type, maybe it is not with plastic. Okay, it may be created with some different material. Okay, I don't know. Okay, what kind of material? Some other different material. Okay, etc. So the when consider, so here my intention of giving this example is, so each material have its corresponding properties. Okay, but in this table, are you referring the properties also along with this material? No. When we store the transactional data, we will store only the material information. Why we need to store again this material group, material type information in this table? It's not required. Okay, it's not required. So in the two-dimensional data, we only store whatever data that is required. Okay, but when coming to multi-dimensional data, here we need to think of in a different way. So same data, if I am storing in a multi-dimensional in a cube, but it behaves as a multi-dimensional object. So how it is behaving as a multi-dimensional object? How it means, a cube is having star schema. A cube can be considered as a star schema. It means cube contains one fact table surrounded by dimension tables. Surrounded by dimension tables. So what is a dimension table? What is fact table? Okay. So fact table means all the key figures in my two-dimensional data will come under fact table. It means fact table contains key figures, quantity, currency, okay, count, anything. Those comes under fact table. Okay, dimension table means the other fields are there, right? Document number, date, material are there. Three different fields. But we will categorize here in our example. We have only three different fields. But in real time, our particular two-dimensional whatever DSOs we create, this DSO may contain more than 20 to 30 fields. Okay, it may contain nearly more than 10 to 20, 30, 40 fields also will be there. Now, out of all those fields, what we do is we will group those fields into one type. For example, document number is part of doc, billing information. So I will create a group billing. In this I will provide document number. I can give item information. Some other information I can group under billing. Here I will have one time dimension. Okay, time dimension under zero cal day is there, right? Zero cal day I will consider as a, I will add it under time dimension, and then I will create one more dimension called um, you know company code, yeah. So here in real time we may have more fields here, so we will create multiple dimensions here. Means nothing but multiple grouping objects, and these grouping objects I am calling as dimension here. So here I will, here document number comes under one dimension, and my zero cal day comes under one dimension, and my material comes under one dimension. Okay, material comes under one dimension. Like that, if I have something else, different objects now, but you see dimension may contains multiple info objects. Dimension is not only considering only one info object, it may contain multiple info objects. Okay, please, in our example, since I taken very less number of columns in my data, that's why I am keeping only one info object in each dimension. Okay, so now this fact table surrounded by dimension table means these are all will be linked like this. These are all will be linked in this way. So now what I can say, this is why I am calling it as a multi-dimensional, because you see this is one dimension, this is one dimension, other dimension. So I have multiple dimensions. That's why I am calling as a multi-dimensional model. Okay, and what is the use of it? Like why we have two-dimensional object is DSO, and then why they created this multi-dimensional object? The purpose behind creating a multi-dimensional object in SAP is for the faster performance. Okay, in order to read data from a DSO, will take, what would happen when we are reading data from a DSO, or a table, the cursor will go sequentially one by one each it will check each record. If the condition satisfies, then means when we do querying on any table, for example, if you want to get data for M1 material, then if I have 1 lakh records in my table, system will search each record. If the material is of type M1, then it will take that record. If not, it will skip the record, so that it has to query via 1 lakh records to give the information. But when it comes to a multi-dimensional model, this process will become very easy by considering some SID concept. SAP brought some SID concept in a multi-dimensional model. Using that SID concept, the query fetching will be more faster when compared to DSO. Okay, I don't want to go further now in this explanation. We can have a separate session on the explanation. But the first difference between the DSO and cube is DSO is a two-dimensional object, cube is a multi-dimensional object. Then multi-dimensional object means a fact table surrounded by dimension tables. Okay, and why SAP came to cube when it is having DSO? Cube provides more performance when compared to DSO in terms of query fetching, data fetching. Okay, reporting, in terms of reporting, I can say. Now, so when coming to this again BW4 HANA, what SAP did? So instead of having two different objects in system, SAP created one what is this hybrid object combining these two properties into aDSO. It means so. Let me show you. Now let's go into the system. I want to give some more details. Okay, what details? Some more details about this one. When it comes to DSO in traditional systems, DSO is again of three types. Okay, DSO is again of three types: standard DSO, write optimized DSO, standard DSO, write optimized, DSO, and direct update DSO. Update. So a DSO is of three types: standard, write optimized, and direct. Okay. So when we creating a DSO, it will prompt us what type of DSO you are creating. In that we need to select, it won't give prompt, but we will go into one place and we will change what type of DSO we need as per our requirement. Okay. Now coming back to here, what is the difference between standard, write optimized, and direct update DSO? So each type, is it having its own own requirement is there. Okay, so standard DSO contains three tables. Okay, it contains new table, active table, change log table. Okay, and write optimizer contains only one table called active table. And direct update DSO is also having only one table called active table, but this is completely different usage. Okay, in general in BW, when we create, either we go for, most of the times we go for standard DSO, and sometimes we go for write optimized, and in some exceptional cases we need direct update DSO based upon the scenario. Okay, so what are these tables again? Why a standard DSO contains three tables? Why write optimized contains one table? So there is again a reason behind it. What is the reason? In standard DSO, SAP, when you are creating one DSO, it is internally creating three different DSOs for you, tables for you. Even though BW system, as said, it contains objects instead of tables. For our eyes only, these are object kind. But when you create it in the backend to store information at base level, it needs tables only at the end. So that's why SAP is creating three different tables: new table, active table, change log table. So when you're trying to load data into a standard DSO, what will happen is system will place the data initially in the new table, and when you perform the activation step, it will bring the data from new table to active table. And when writing data from new table to active table, system will write the changes in the changelog table. So this entire concept now we are going to learn practically by seeing in the taking some examples. Okay, this is just a theory part. Okay, when coming to write optimized table, there is only one step. If you load data into the DSO, directly it sits in active table. So no more other actions required here. And direct update DSO is a DSO is used to directly push data from somewhere into our BW system. Okay, we will learn more about this also in coming sessions. So I'm not explaining about this now. Okay. Now what happening now? This particular DSO is have three types, but and the cube is fourth. Now four different kind of properties are included now in our aDSO. So now aDSO can be act as a standard DSO. In aDSO can be act as a write optimized DSO. In aDSO you can create of type direct update, and you can create this same as type of cube also. Okay, any of these four types you can create just with one provider here. So now let's see how to create this aDSO now. Now what I'm going to do is so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to my info area. I'm going to create one aDSO now. Right click here. Let me delete this one. Okay, this is info area. Now under this info area, you see nothing else is there. Now I'm right clicking on my info area, go to new, go to data store advanced. Here you need to provide your table name, aDSO name. So for my, as it is a class, I'm giving ZHA as a naming convention, and then I'm giving aDSO 1. Okay, so aDSO 1. I'm giving description also in this way, or else sales. Let's load some sales data here, sales aDSO. Okay, and here, so first I need to provide one technical name, then I need to provide the description of it, and then what I need to do here, what are the other options we have? The other options what we have here we will learn in our next sessions, but as of now, when we create a fresh new DSO, you need to provide the technical name of the DSO and the description of the DSO, and then click on finish. Okay, so when you click on finish, it gives you this screen. Here we have three tabs: general tab, details tab, settings tab. So first of all, we need to deal with the general tab. We need to understand what are all these properties here. Okay, so these two properties later we see. First comes to modeling properties. I told you, right, this aDSO can act as any of these four different types. Now to make any of these four different types, we need to play with these options. We need to play with these modeling properties options. Okay, here by default, any DSO you create, it will act as a standard DSO. So if we select this standard data store object radio button, and this checkbox changelog checkbox was ticked, then it is nothing but it's a standard data store object. Okay, if you uncheck this write changelog, then this becomes write optimized data store object. Okay, and if you select this unique data records, then this becomes cube. Okay, and if you want direct update DSO, you need to select this direct update data store object. That's it, four different types. If you want standard data store object, select the radio button standard data store object with changelog. If you want to create a write optimizer, uncheck this changelog. And if you want to cube, select this one. That's it. Okay, so now we are going to create a standard data store object first, and later we see write optimized, and then we see the cube type also. So first I am creating standard by enabling the write changelog. So this is the first step is done, and then we are going to details tab. So as explained here, so when we want to create any DSO, first of all we need to know what is my structure of my DSO. So here my structure of my DSO is document number, date, material, quantity, unit. So to define the structure of the info object of this DSO, I need the corresponding info objects. In BW 7. In this version, we can create a DSO without any info objects also. Okay, but that concept is not covering right away. So the first concept what I will cover is creation with info objects only. Okay, so let me check whether I have these corresponding info objects available in my system or not. Okay, so to add any info object to my aDSO, then I need to click on this add info objects button. Zero doc number. You see, I have zero document number available here. This is a standard info object I am using. Instead of custom info object, I am using a standard SAP given info object. Okay, and then I need zero calde. Okay, I double click on it, it will come to right hand side. And then I need zero material. Yes, super. I have zero material also. And then I need zero quantity. Yeah, zero quantity. So when zero quantity is there, the corresponding zero unit also you need. Okay, or else if you don't select the unit, automatically it will come. So I hope I explained about key figures, right? So key figures means whenever you create info object, automatically the corresponding unit also come and sit here. So zero unit. If I don't select also, if I click on OK, you see one more extra column. You see when quantity is adding, system is adding zero unit automatically. Why? Because in zero quantity, zero unit is the corresponding unit field of the quantity. Okay. So I added my required fields. So in my Excel, I have document number, calde, material, quantity, unit. Now I have all the 5 fields available in my DSO. What is next? The next step is you need to define the key. Since you are creating a standard info object, it is mandatory to provide the key for your table. Okay, for your DSO, I can say. For your So what is my key in my DSO? In this particular DSO, my key is my document number. Okay, because I know what data I am loading into my DSO. Now I can define my key. So this is as a technical consultant, at least you should able to judge what is your key for your data. If not, you need to ask your functional consultant for this information. So how to define the key part? To add the key part, you need to click on manage keys. Go to manage keys, select document number and click on add. And then click on OK. You see when you click on add, here key symbol came here, and when you click on OK, now you see out of 5 fields, this is the key you defined. That's why it is giving key symbol here. Okay. Now the second part is done. First part is assigning the properties. Second part is assigning info objects. Third part is assign the key, define the key for your DSO. And the fourth part is activating the DSO. Go to activate button here. Click on activate. It will activate your aDSO. You see now a aDSO got created, and earlier if you see earlier under this info area nothing is there. When I created aDSO it came, and now this is my aDSO. If your aDSO created successfully, then you can see icon in this way. Okay, what's next? So you created aDSO. It means what happened in your BW environment, you created one aDSO. What is that aDSO name? ZHA you can go to general and from here you can copy your technical name of your aDSO. Okay, so aDSO is nothing but a table in the backend. I told you, right? Now how to identify the tables? Now what I am going to do is I am going to log into my BW4 HANA system from my SAP. From GUI, I logged into my BW4 HANA system. Okay, I am going to T code called SE11. SE11 is a T code where ABAP dictionary elements. Okay, now what I said earlier, when we creating a aDSO, SAP will create backend some tables, right? If you want to know those table information, copy the aDSO name and give star star here, and in between give your aDSO name, press F4. You see, when I press F4, I am seeing 3 different tables. You see, one is DSO1. You see, aDSO1 is my name, and at the end, I am seeing 3 different numbers 1, 2, 3. One means inbound table. So inbound table is nothing but here I said new table, right? It also called as inbound table. Okay, and the second one is active data table. So when we activate the data which is in inbound table, then data comes into my active data table. Okay, and the third one is change log table. Okay, third one is change log table. So these are the three different tables SAP is giving. So let me go to active table once, select active table, go to display. So if you see here, you see this is a SAP database table. In this table, now you can see the fields which you added in the aDSO: document number, calendar day, material, quantity, unit of measure. Along with these 5 fields, you are seeing one extra record called record mode. Okay, this is one of the SAP generated field. So right now, don't talk much about this one. Let's go to our topic called aDSO. Okay, so when you create one aDSO, SAP internally creating 3 different tables. Okay, standard aDSO when you create. So now, so what happened? You created aDSO. Now next target is, now you want to load some data into aDSO. Okay, so why we create providers in BW? In order to load data into it, we create providers. So now from where I want to load data? What is my source? So this acts as a target. If you want to load data into aDSO, then this your aDSO is a target object, and you need to find your source object. Okay, so what is your source? Now you have to define your source. You can load data into aDSO by using a flat file. So in our previous sessions, we already learned how to create a flat file data source, correct? So a flat data source can be represented here with one symbol. Which symbol it is? Yeah, I can use this symbol to represent data source. Okay, so you can create one flat file. Okay, means a CSV file, and from this you can load data into your aDSO. Okay, this is one way. Or you have this is BW system, right? Whatever is, for example, this is BW system, and there will be one source system for me, R3, correct? So from R3 also you can load data into your aDSO. If you want to load data from R3 into your aDSO, here also definitely you need one data source. Okay, that's what zero plant ATTR is there, right? Where we discussed in the last session. That is a R3 data source, master data source. Now here you can create some there will be some transactional data sources available. So using that transactional data source, you can load data into your aDSO. So from a different R3 system, you can load data into aDSO, and from a flat file, you can load data into aDSO. And by having some connections from anything also, in many SAP supports many third-party tools also to bring data into BW environment. Okay, and you can load data from one aDSO into another aDSO. So not only from outside or from flat file, within the BW, for example, if we have another aDSO too, then from here also you can load data into your aDSO. Okay, it is possible. So first of all, now to complete our example, we need to define one way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one flat file data source now, and from there I'm going to show you how to load data into your aDSO. Okay, that makes our example complete, session complete. Okay, so now my next target is I want to create one data source, flat file data source. So where I will create flat file data source, I need to come to this data sources component, and here under data sources, you see you have different connections are there, and I'm going to create one connection under file system, under file file under file. Let's create one file system. Anything you can create, use any of it. It's not a big deal. Just go to any file. Just go to file or file system. So let's go to one file. Here you can take any one component, application component. Earlier also we created some flat file data sources, right? Just I'm looking for that one. Okay, I'm not able to figure it out which one it is. So now I'm going to use my file, file server here. Under this, I will take any one application component, or we can create our own application component also. Let's use any standard application component instead of using custom ones. So not non-disconnected. No. Let's create our application component. Go to create new application component. GHA underscore app underscore component. Harsha application component. Okay, just I'm creating a here component is nothing but a folder kind. So whatever data sources you are creating now, you are keeping under this one particular application component to make your life easy. That's it. So now under this application component, now I can create one data source. Now this data source will be a flat file data source because I am creating under file type. So this will act as a flat file data source. So, but before creating a data source, what is my step? I need to create one first of all, file. Okay. I'm going to take a new Excel sheet here. I'm defining my, zero doc underscore number, zero cal day, and zero material, zero quantity, and unit. So what I will do is, you see, whatever names I'm giving here, all these names are similar to my info object names, correct? So what in my aDSO I given info object names. You see, zero doc num, cal day, material, everything. But for example, what I'm doing is first column instead of num, I am giving number. Okay, and quantity also instead of giving zero quantity, I will give as a quantity. I am removing that zero. Okay, fine. Let's keep it in this way. Okay, quantity. Now we need test data. 1001, 2022, 0101, M1 material, Q quantity 100, 10, okay, 10 pieces. 1000, I don't create more records. So only two records, 0 to 01, one for January, one for February. 100 pieces, only two records. So I am saving my data in the form of CSV file. Okay, I am saving my Excel file in form of, I'm going to documents, a new folder, class files, sales data 1, and save as type CSV comma delimited file. I am saving my file in the form of comma delimited. So keep yes. So it will be converted to CSV file. I am closing this one. So once you're done with the file creation, close it and go to your place where you stored the file and try to open it on with Notepad. Don't open directly. It will open with Excel mode. Always open with Notepad format. When after you're done with saving it, open in a Notepad format. You see, I have comma delimited. Two records are there. Okay. Now close this one. Now for this to load this data, now I am going to create one data source. So now let me go to here, data sources under under this file. I created one application component, right? ZHA application component. Right click here, new data source. Next. Here don't use anything, just click on next. Name you need to give. So sale GDS data source, right? That's what GDS underscore sales data. That's it, sales data. And next type. So you need to define. So there are three different, already we discussed in our earlier session. We have four different types: master data attribute, text, and transactional data hierarchies. Now whatever data I'm loading, it's a kind of transactional data. So I need to select my data source type as transactional data and click on finish. Okay, now come to the first tab, nothing to do here. Now come to the second tab, extraction. here it is important. Listen, like we already created a data sources earlier sessions also. So I need to give my file name. So I will browse my file and provide my file here path. So this is my file and header rows. Yeah, I have one header row to be ignored, and my data separator is comma. Okay, and that's it. Now here you have two fields: show file content, derive fields from file. So show file content will show you the file. That's it. Means by doing it, what you get understand. Okay, whatever path you given, it is correct, and you are able to accessible to that path. You have permissions to use this path. And then next is derive fields from file. Click on this one. As you know, if before clicking on this button, I am going to fields tab. You see fields tab is empty here. Now coming to extraction tab, click on derive fields from file. So it will try to read our file. Now this is our file, and this is the proposal data types. Okay, now what SAP is doing is to create a data source. Now it is reading the file information, and it identified we have 5 different columns, and based upon the column information, it is proposing the data type of each column, and it is taking. Okay, click on finish. Now go to fields tab. You can see 5 different fields. SAP defined the data type of each field. That's right. When you're creating something, you need to define data type. But whatever SAP given is given based upon the data that it is currently seeing in the file. Because we given 1001 as a document number, it is considering it as an integer. But to me, it is not integer. It is of type nvarchar. It is of type. Where is that type? Char. Yeah, it is of type char. Okay, and length is 10. Yeah, I am giving length as 10, and 0 char. Or else, if you want to define manually this, you can define it. Or else, what you can do, since you are loading these fields into this DSO, correct? Into this DSO means you already identified each info object for each column coming from the file. In that scenario, what you can do is simply for each column assign the corresponding info object number 0._num. When you do this, what will happen? Everything, all the properties will be taken from this info object. Okay. What is the name of this one? 0.num only, right? Yeah, 0.num, and go to 0cal_day. Here also just give 0cal_day, and then go to 0 material. Here also give 0 material. You see, when I click on 0 material, it automatically changes the length to 40. Okay. Now you see it is taking quantity as int 4. When I assign my 0 quantity here, enter, you see it came, quantity came, automatically changes the data type from int to quantity. Now go to here and change this to 0 unit. Okay, it's unit. And when come back to quantity, you see, always remember 0 quantity info object always binded with its corresponding unit. So here you need to specify which column from your table is related to the unit field. So unit, this you need to mention. Okay, or else you will get error message. Done with mapping. Now simply click on activate. Maybe we learned already this one in our earlier session, but yeah, since it is a transactional file first time loading, better to have knowledge on the data source creation also. Okay, so data source was created successfully. Now it means you defined this flat file now. Okay, now what is next action? Next, we want to load data from this flat file into your aDSO. In order to bring data from source into target, we need one bridge in between these two. That is nothing but a transformation file. Okay, so it's nothing but transformation. We call it as a transformation. So now what we are going to do next, we are going to create a transformation. So transformation we need to create on top of target object. Okay, so I am going to my aDSO, right click on the aDSO, go to new transformation. So when you click on transformation, it will ask prompt for what is your source object. My source object is a data source, and it is asking for name. I always prefer to go to browse and search for my data source, GDS underscore sales underscore data one something data is there, right? This is my data source. When you select it from browse, automatically source system will come here, which makes our life easy. Click on finish. So now what happened here, you can see again a new window came with 3 different tabs. Nothing to do on the first tab as of now. Go to rules section. In the rules section, see automatic mapping happened between source to target. How this automatic mapping happened automatically? By comparing these, technical names here and here, SAP defined this automatic mapping. If there are completely different, then no mapping will happen. You need to map everything manually. How to map manually? Just select here and drag and drop on the target object. Then the mapping will be defined automatically, defined by doing this. So what is transformation? A transformation defines the mapping from source to the target. It means from my source, which column from my source is equivalent to which column in my target. So that mapping you are doing here. Okay. So just after doing this, activate it. So transformation only defines the mapping between source and target, but this doesn't move the data. Okay. To move the data from source to target, I need to create a DTP, data transfer process. Okay. Right click on the transformation, go to new, create this data transfer process. Now, since I am creating on top of the transformation contains my source and target information, right? So now the same will be copied to my DTP also. This is my source, and this is the above is my target. Click on next, click on finish. Now a DTP will be created. You see DTP symbol means that this is the DTP symbol, this is the transformation symbol, this green color icon. Okay. In the DTP, what is happening? Here I have again four different tabs are there. So as of now, don't do anything. Just click on everything. Click on activate button. Don't do any changes. Just click on activate button. Later we see what is there. But here the important thing to understand here is extraction tab. Okay. In the extraction tab, you see it has the file name, header, rows, data separator. All this information are almost equivalent to my data source information. Okay. In the data source creation also, it asked for this information, right? This information it copied from the data source only. Since this particular data transfer process is fetching data from your source flat file and pulling, writing data into your target aDSO. Okay. So that's why here we have so extraction information from source. Now how to execute this DTP, data transfer process? By clicking on this symbol. Okay. By clicking on this symbol. Okay. By clicking on this start execution of data transfer process, you can execute the DTP. When you are executing the DTP, you see it came into a different window. Just click on execute. So start request was created. Yeah, it is asking permission to to read data from a file. Allow it. Yeah, request has done successfully. Do you want to display request monitor? Yes. So data was requested from there and 2 data records got read from there, and I can see it was green. Here in the header, it will show the status of the request. If it is green, it means successful, red means failed, and yellow means still in progress. So when so it's done. Now what is my next stop? DTP executed. So when DTP executed, what happened? Once we execute the DTP, it means we are bringing data from source into target. Okay. So already data written to target, but not the process not yet completed. By clicking on this administer data target, you can go to the manage of the DSO. This is the manage data store object. Okay. Here it is important. In the Excel sheet earlier, we discussed about 3 tables: new table, active table, changelog table. Now this particular topic comes now. Till now what we did is just we defined the entire flow for bringing the data from flat file into DSO, and when we trigger the DTP, it came already into my DSO. But when it came to my DSO, where exactly initially it's sitting, I explained, right, when I was explaining this standard DSO, when we load data into this DSO, initially the data sits in the new table or inbound table. Okay. And then when we do perform activation, then it goes to the active table. So now since we did the first step, which is we loaded into DSO, so data will be now available on the new table or inbound table. How to confirm it? Go to menu, utilities. Here you see display new data. If you go here and click on number of entries, you see 2 entries are there. If you click on this execute button, you can see those 2 entries. You see the screen, whatever I screen, this table's format is there. This is called ALB format. Okay, list format. This is called. I can change this format. Go to settings, user parameters, ALB grid display. ALB grid display. Click on OK. Then this will be shown in a much better way. So 2 records got loaded now into this aDSO. And this data currently is in one table. So you see aDSO 1 at the end. It is not new table or inbound table. Okay. And what are all these? I know these are all nothing but my fields which are loaded from the from my flat file. Now what are extra these fields? These fields are system defined fields. Okay. Here it is telling at what timestamp this was loaded and the data packet number and record number. Okay. So yeah, as of now, we don't need to think about much about it. Later we see. Okay. So I'm going back one step, going back. Okay. So data is in new table. So now I want to move this data into active table. In order to perform that function, select the row, click on activate button. Okay, click on the activate. Now I am performing the activation step. So click on the activate button, select the request you want to activate, click on activate. You see now yellow means it is a processing, activation is in process. Okay, click on refresh. There is a chance of failure. Yeah, it's not failure. Okay, now what happened? 2 records from my new table got loaded into active table. Okay, now go here, go to in utilities, go to act. Now what happened? Moved. I am always using the word moved from new table to active table. It means after movement happened, I don't find those in my new table anymore. You see now new table entries are 0. Okay. Now if I go to the active table, in the active table, I can see my 2 entries. Click on execute. You see 2 entries came. 2 entries came here. Okay, M1, M2. So apart from this active table, new table, we discussed about changelog table also. Let's go to changelog table. So go to menu, settings. Sorry, not from here. And just to go back one more step, menu, utilities, changelog. In the changelog table, now you are seeing 2 different entries. Okay, so at this point of time, you won't understand anything about this changelog table. But in our tomorrow session, we will discuss more about this changelog table because we need to finish this concept when we are talking about standard aDSO itself. Okay, so tomorrow what I am going to do is I am performing one more data load into this aDSO, and there I will show you how exactly this changelog behaves and what is the use of changelog table in this process. Okay. So this is all about aDSO, standard aDSO. So today the concept what we covered is what is the history of aDSO, or what is an aDSO and its types and the creation of aDSO. Okay, this is the topic which I covered today. So okay, now I need to provide one assignment for the practice. Okay, so what assignment I am going to provide now? Create a aDSO of type standard with below fields. Okay, I can use 0 doc underscore num and 0 item. There will be one more info object called 0 item. Let me go here, aDSO and info objects. zero doc. I'm giving all the standard info objects. So zero doc underscore item zero item. Okay, use this one zero o zero as s underscore ord underscore item. Okay, yeah, this is better instead of other field. Zero s underscore ord zero s underscore ord underscore item. Okay, document number item zero cal day zero material zero quantity zero unit. Okay, use these fields, and out of these fields add these two fields as key fields. Okay, create a DSO of type standard with the below fields and make doc underscore num and item as key fields. Okay, this is first point. So second point is create a flat file data source. Create a flat file data source and upload below data. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give some test data to upload here. So document number is 1001 and item is 10, cal day 2022 0101, material M1 and quantity 100 and units PC. So 1002, 1001 only and 20 item 2022 0101 M2 with 200 pieces and 1002 item 10 2022 0102 second day M1 with 150 pieces. Okay, so now load these three records into now create a flat file data source and upload the below data, not upload for upload to upload below data. Because we are not uploading data into data source, correct? That's why just to upload this data, you have to create data source, flat file data source. It means you need to create in this format. Okay, at the end, the intention is. So third point is create a transformation between data source and aDSO. Okay, fourth one, create DTP. Fifth one is load data into aDSO and activate the data. Okay, so these are the steps that you need to perform. Sixth point is observe the data in the tables while performing before and after activation step. Okay, so this is the activity assignment that you need to finish by tomorrow so that I can continue with my next session. Okay, I'm stopping recording.